Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it has finally happened. And why does that look so high? Anyways, today, yes, the leaks, the images have finally made it out to the world. Not the ones I was actually expecting, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, finally, the DJI Avata 2 has leaked, as well as the new goggles. We don't know what they're called. We're going to assume Goggle 3 or DJI Goggles 2 version 2 Black 04 Ultra Edition or something along those ways. And we're going to talk about the new HDZero VTX. We're going to talk about the new AI thing from Caddx, because Caddx have succumbed to the AI revolution and released something that I don't know what the hell it is, if I'm honest, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Now, I hope you're all safe and well. Let me just go to full screen. What, that looks very high up today. There's a lot of space above my head. That's a bit strange. One moment. My camera's moved. I think I did this the other day by accident. That's a little bit better. Doesn't look quite so weird now. That was odd. I hope you are all safe and well. I hope you've had a good week. Alongside what I've already discussed, we're also going to take a very quick, because I'm going to be keeping this for a video, and we're going to have a first look at this as well. And let me just zoom in and show you guys what this is. This is something a little bit special. We'll wait for the camera's focus to sort itself out. Now, you might be wondering, well, that looks like a board, and it's got a HDMI port on it. It's got a USB port, and it looks like it's got a MIPI cable. And what is that MIPI cable going to? It's going to a Vista. Why would you have a HDMI and DP DisplayPort going to a Vista? What would that allow you to do? So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Now, it has been a very, very interesting week, and it is very possible I'm going to get myself into trouble tonight, and I'm going to try not to, and I'm going to do a big disclaimer up front. So, we're about to talk about products that are not released yet. Anything that we do discuss should be deemed as hearsay and rumor at this point. However, let me be clear, there are things that I do know. I have been told by people in very far away parts of the world who've been testing this product for quite a long time. And even though what I'm going to tell you, I believe is 100% correct, as always, you should take it as nothing more than hearsay or rumor, but I will throw it back at you when the product actually releases and say, hey, I was right. Now, we should start tonight's stream on a leak. And let me just get this leak a second. Ready? I didn't get a chance to get it ready beforehand. Let me just find it one moment. I need to be able to search. We're just going to find it in a second. 1 second. This shows you how prepared I was for this. I was prepared for this, but I'm just teasing you, getting you ready. 2 seconds. I'm just waiting for it. For some reason, my search is not finding what I'm looking for. What is wrong with Twitter? Why is Twitter not behaving? Found it. Right. So, sorry about that. The first thing we're going to talk about is a very big leak. And that leak is this. Now, you may remember, I showed you this image quite a while ago with the guys at FPV WTF. Does this remind you of anything? Does this look like anything at all? I don't know. Is this like something that may have leaked this week? Yes, finally, there has been leaked images of the upcoming Avata 2 as well as the new goggles. Now, we've got a few images. We've got this image here, which came out first of all. This is the one that probably got someone into a lot of trouble. And then we have this image here, which is turned up online. And then we've got the image of the Avata 2, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, there has been a lot of controversy and talk, and I've spoke about this quite a lot on streams already. So we're going to start with the goggles. Now, we've known about new goggles coming from DJI for a very long time. They are a cross between the Goggles 2 and the Integras, so you will see it is overall the main shape and style. However, there is this new band along the top here, and you've got the battery head strap in the back, but the battery head strap comes into this band here. There's a redesign around the vents at the front, and there are front-facing cameras, which I've talked about before. Now, there's a lot of talk and conjecture about, well, what is this band? Now, as far as I know, and this isn't 100% correct, however, as far as we know, there's no antenna in the band. That isn't fact. That's an understanding. The band is where the main strap comes in for the head strap. It's got a bit of foam piece on it, I believe. And this is the new mounting option that DJI have designed. And the way it works, and let me just get myself in view because I'm a bit off to the side for some reason. 1 second. Let me just move myself there. So the way this works is the goggles actually sit against your forehead. That piece there. And then the goggles sort of hang in front of your face with a sort of a bellows type seal rather than a foam face mask. It's not quite the same design as we've seen before. It's a different overall fitment and design, and it's not like a foam. It's like a rubbery material rather than a foam. And the term I'd use is like a bellows is probably the easiest term to use. Now, everything I know is that they are a lot more comfortable to wear. As far as I'm aware, they've been much better designed for Western faces. I can't comment on the optics because I've not tried them. Optics are very subject to each person as well. So, that's the first change. Now, people are asking, do they hinge up? My understanding is no. My understanding is that hinge is to just sort of press it into your face with that on here. However, again, I'm not 100% certain. I don't believe they hinge all the way up. I could be wrong on that. But my understanding is they don't flip all the way up. It's sort of like a mechanism to keep them up against your face. Now, these goggles are based on 04. They have front-facing pass-through cameras. They still have support for the Avata 2, and the DJI O3 air unit. My understanding today is that there is no support for the Caddx Vista or the Air unit like there is on the Goggles 2 or Integra, but that doesn't mean it won't happen in the future, but that also doesn't mean it will. Remember, DJI added that legacy mode onto the Goggles 2 and Integras. As far as I understand it, that isn't on these goggles at this time, which means O3 only. I don't know what other consumer drones they work with. DJI will be tweaking the firmware on that as time goes on. With regards to the optics, they do have the Goggles 2 style adjustment and optics. They do still have antennas. I don't know if they are removable. And they do still support 1080p, and they run on OcuSync 4. Now, as for the front-facing cameras, my understanding is that they allow pass-through. It will move the FPV image to a small screen in the corner. However, the words that have been used to me by more than one person is that it is a gimmick and it barely works and is barely usable. And it is by far worse than the pass-through that you get on the Quest 2, for instance. And whilst it is a color image, it is a very poor implementation. Now, we don't know, could that be improved in software? We don't know if some of the issues... There is no full motion for drone control. These cameras are basically to allow you to park your FPV image in the corner and be able to see around you. Some things that were said to me is the field of view is bizarre that DJI have chosen, and the latency is terrible. But we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to wait and see. Right now, it's a gimmick, not a real usable feature. Is this a new drone, or are they bringing out two drones? Okay, so there is an Avata 2, which we will come on to in a minute. There is no FPV 2. There probably may never be an FPV drone 2. All of the rumors around that, as far as I know, are complete nonsense. There will be there is no DJI FPV drone 2. It doesn't exist. It probably will never exist. That is as I know things today. So, the goggles are a cross between Goggles 2 and Integra. There is some other stuff which I'm not going to go into now that I do know about them, but overall, there is nothing exciting here. Now, the first thing you need to take into account is, remember, these goggles are designed specifically for use with these new drones, and whilst they will work with O3, they are not specifically designed for the FPV community. Remember that. Now, moving on to this image here, what you can see in this image is one that was shared online. I've just found it. Is the head strap coming in here to that top piece, and you can see it coming in here in this foam piece, and you can see the mask there, and it is shaped, and it does hold the shape, but it is more of a bellows than a foam mask is the term I will use. And that appears to be the case. Looks like a second battery. No, there's no second battery in there. The cable for the power comes in here. More than anything, it's designed to hold it up against your head. So overall, very interesting. Now, then moving on to the Avata 2. Now, this is the image I've seen shared online. I have others, but I'm not going to share them here because they still haven't been shared publicly. They don't show you a huge amount. So, what I can tell you about the Avata 2. Same sensor as the DJI Action 4. Same sensor. 04. Dual band OcuSync 4, 2.4 and 5 gigs this time. They now have the 60 megabits bit rate. Approximate weight, about 380 grams. It is a different battery. It is much quieter. It is standardized props compared to what we had before. Look in here. Notice the two screws. DJI have now moved to a standardized, the 2-screw prop pattern. The camera is dramatically improved, and it'll offer roughly up to 20 minutes of flight time. The very basics with the Avata 2 is lighter, flies longer, standardized props, OcuSync 4, Action 4 camera. In almost every way, it is a much better drone than the Avata was. Much better overall in every way. It is made of a new lighter plastic, which worries me a little bit. We don't think it's probably going to be quite as bomb-proof as the DJI Avata, but it is not as weak as the FPV drone. It's somewhere in between. The Avata was bomb-proof. The FPV drone was too easy to break. It is definitely quieter, my understanding is. Definitely quieter. The quad, as I understand it, is dramatically better, and it will make a lot of people very, very happy. There is also a version 3 FPV remote, which they've taken away the antennas. The antennas are gone, and it now has built-in patch antennas, which are a little bit problematic, as I understand it. They are very, very directional, and you have to make sure that you're pointing at the aircraft at all times. Otherwise, it will fail safe. Being DJI, that's not end of the world because it'll come back. I also believe they have massively improved the overall flight characteristics, and all of the quirks of the original Avata are gone. Like the problem I shared. All of those kind of problems have gone. It is a much better FPV drone. I don't know if it's C1 or C2. 380 grams, I believe, roughly. So that tells you category-wise. Any ideas on the release date? We don't have it confirmed yet. Probably the next 6 weeks. 04 will be better in low light. So 04 allows up to 60 megabits a second. Well, the big difference won't be 04 that improves low light. Any news on HDMI input? No chance. No. Look, people keep asking me, are DJI going to make a set of goggles with analog and HDMI? It probably will never happen again. DJI are not about supporting other ecosystems. DJI about the current system. Kerry Miller said, will the new goggles run the Vista? As I understand it today, no. Will 03 be compatible upgraded to work with 04? My understanding is the new goggles work with the new goggles work with 03. Yes. Not even HDMI out. No. DJI don't do normal in and out. That's not what their interest is. No HDMI in, no HDMI out. Chances are it will still have the DJI Fly app via USB that's going to allow you to sync. What place has the Avata got? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They are going to probably sell more of these drones than they ever sold of the FPV drone and the first Avata. This is, as I believe, the perfect cine whoop for people wanting to do professional work without any of the hassle. You have to remember, this product is not designed for the FPV community. This product is designed for Mavic users and Pro users who want something that just works out of the box. You have to remember, creative people don't really want to spend loads of time messing around sticking GoPros on quads. Creative people want to turn it on and fly. And that is what this product is for. Real estate, I'm not saying you're going to see it in big Michael Bay movies, but this is going to be the guys who need a quick FPV shot. This is going to be their go-to drone. Fly indoors, quick FPV. It is going. You mean lazy people? No, people who do this for a living. Something I found interesting, because I saw some comments on this the other day. Creative people are generally not the most technical. They're not. They don't need to be. They're not looking to build quads or spend their time tuning. They want to get out there and get the shot and fly. It's about the end result, not the product itself. And being able to buy a product out the door that is 95% as good as, say, a GoPro with regards to image quality. They can grade it alongside their other footage from their other DJI drones that they're probably already using. They will just buy it. And that's it. This isn't for the FPV community. This product really isn't. Will it work with the goggles too? We don't know. I suspect yes, but we don't know. Or working people that don't have hours to screw around soldering, worrying about burning their house down, charging light bulbs. 100%. 100%. Does it have optical avoidance? Not as far as I'm aware. It still has the downward sensors, but I don't believe it has object avoidance, no. Looks like the body prop god is one piece. Will probably be expensive to change it. Yeah, look, I think it is definitely a more integrated design when you look at it. It definitely is. It definitely is. It's not quite the same. The unit is. It's definitely. Will it be sub 250? No, it's not sub 250. It's about 380 grams. It's about 380 grams. So it's no chance of it being sub 250. Mini 4 Pro can hook it up to goggles too. What would the Avata 2... I don't know what DJI are going to charge for this. I would look at whatever the Avata is today and add 10% because of price increases. If the faceplate doesn't fit, it will flop. You have to remember, though, and this thing, guys, these are not for you. These are not for me. We'll buy them. We'll be the ones sitting here going, oh, I've bought them. This product is predominantly aimed at users buying this. How this overall is in the thing. Why did they remove the background of the original image on the net? It's gravel stone, just like those goggles. I know. I don't know why. Now, you're going to see these images all over the internet. Some of these are the ones that I've had my hands on for quite some time. Am I excited about the pass-through camera? I'm intrigued at this moment in time. What I'm hearing isn't good, but let's wait and see. Look, it could be... This is the bit I'll say on this, on the pass-through cameras, right? DJI is a camera company, right? If we look at what DJI does best, they make drones, they make flying cameras. Now, DJI is really good at the flying bit. In the early days, they weren't really good at the camera bit. For those of us who've been around a long time, right, I'll have a quick rant on this. DJI started off being compatible with GoPros. And after that relationship blew apart, DJI started with their own camera, which was the FC40. Then they started the Phantom 2 SE. Phantom 2, then Phantom 2 SE with their own camera, then the Phantom 3. And DJI went through loads of pain from about 2014 to 2017 to 2018. They were really good at making flying bits, but not really... Well, they weren't necessarily really good at making flying bits, but they were getting better at making flying bits, and they were getting better at making cameras. Today, DJI is right up there with everyone else with regards to cameras overall. They make some silly mistakes, as Floor Flyer said, quite there. Absolutely. This isn't quite there. There are things they've done that aren't quite as good as GoPro, but they're getting there. What I would be shocked at, honestly, is if they messed this up. I'm not saying it would be a feature that you may want to use, but I would be astonished if they can't work out how to put two cameras through to lenses with close to zero latency and a reasonable field of view. I just don't understand how they could get that wrong. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. You know, it remains to be seen. DJI cameras are Jog, DJI camera's crap, not usable for professional use. I call bullshit on that comment. DJI's cameras are used for more professional work today than any other camera and drone in the air. More DJI cameras are used for professional work today in the air than anything else. People are not flying Reds and Aries all day long. Yes, film crews are flying Aries for big budget movies. Most people, most even low to mid professional stuff, is using an X7, X9. People are absolute. 03 is usable. Andy Cooper just said, I'm sorry, it is the best camera you have is the one you have on you and the one you can fly with. And I'm not saying they're perfect, but they are. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying they don't get things wrong. But no one in the market wants to deal with cine lifters. Exactly. But I'd be astonished if they got this wrong. I would be. Don't get me wrong. It's DJI. They can mess up anything, but it's rare. But not for pro use. Yeah, it's look. You're not going to use it on a movie, but people. That's what the X7 and X9 was. DJI is the best because there are no alternatives, and that's a very good point. So this is where we're at. But guys, look, I've said for weeks, I've talked about this for weeks. Don't get too excited, right? A question just now: what would you buy today? Okay, look, we don't know if the new Avata is going to work with Goggles 2 or Integra. My day one bet is no. I suspect DJI will only make the Avata 2 compatible with these goggles. And maybe, depending on sales, they will then bring compatibility in 3 to 6 months. That's my bet. Maybe, but it's no guarantee. It's no guarantee. I suspect day one, the Avata 2 will be for this only. No leaks on an 04 ear unit. Okay. So, as I understand it, as of today, there is no 04 ear unit. However, that once this is released, I think that team may move over to start looking at an ear unit then. If it's going to happen, I would say by the end of the year. But it's not in the pipeline. I think if we look at how the Avata released, so the Avata released first, and then the 03 ear unit released 3 months, 6 months later. It's not a complete no, but it doesn't exist today, is my understanding. It's sort of in the roadmap is the term I would use. But it doesn't exist today. So what would an 04 ear unit be? Probably the same camera as this. Probably the same. Will there be an Avata integrated goggle 2 for the Avata 2? Will these... We don't know. Single board VTX is what's needed. It's going to be really hard, Kerry. They just can't do. They're going to. 04 is not going to be a single board VTX. That's for sure. Hi, continue channel. Yeah, 04 is not going to be a single board VTX. It's just not going to happen. If the Avata 2 is already being tested, where's the FCC documentation? DJI usually hide the FCC. So DJI have the option to hide their FCC filings up until the release date. It costs money, and they don't do it on every product. You'll notice that some stuff comes in advance. They usually, though, you will probably see it hit the FCC filings in the next couple of weeks. Single board 50 by 50. The problem is with 03 and 4, there's just so much going on. The new chipset is smaller, so they might get a bit more space. Do you think I will be buying the new Avata and goggles? I will be buying them. Any news on integrated remote ID? It will have remote ID. The goggles will have GPS here because we saw that on the Integras. They're not going to walk backwards on that. That's now part of the law in the US. So these goggles will have a GPS module here. The only thing they might have done is move the GPS module up to here. That's a possibility. But they'll have a GPS module and it'll all be fully remote ID. But remember, today, 03 doesn't support remote ID. We can't comment on what 04 will do in the future. People have no idea what's inside those things, DJI. Container channel, I'm just trying to think. I don't know what you're talking about. People have no idea what's inside those things. Could you still hack them for the EU? We don't know. Guys, you're asking things that no one will know until the release is out. Quantity per area, 04BH266. No. As far as we're aware, no. Look, 04 is a new chipset, but it's not dramatically different to 03. 04 is DJI using the S2, which is their new chipset, which gives them more bandwidth and improved antenna lanes. It actually has less processing power than the P1 that we use today. The reason for that is they offload the video process into the Eagle 3T, and that does the processing. More than anything, 04 is more in-house back-end changes. Yes, it's got some improvements, up to 60 megabits a second now, which is really good to see, and I believe this quad can do it. How do you already know the 04 design? We know a lot already about. There are people who know a lot about the 04 design already. 04's out. Remember, it's in the year 3. The second it's out there, we already know. We know the stuff that people find out very, very quickly. All the 04 E-unit really is going to bring from a user benefit is maybe up to 60 megabits a second and the improved camera. The new chipset isn't actually as... It's got less processing because they offload it to... DJI is an evil company, but what if you use their FPV to do good? DJI is not an evil company. I'm sorry, that's BS. I don't agree with that. Anyone who says DJI is not evil. DJI is a company. If you're going to call DJI evil, right, Google and Apple are Beelzebub themselves. So, DJI is not evil. DJI is a business wanting your money. That's the reality of it. Have they fixed the fan and fogging issue? Don't know, don't have them, can't comment on that. What about the licensing on Goggles 3? Don't know, can't comment. There are things we know, there are things we don't. So, I won't be in the range versus 03. That's a hard one because 03 is artificially limited to 23.4 kilometers. Low light improvement is much better, similar to what you get on the Action 4. Range is hard, okay? 03 is technically software limited to 23.4 kilometers. Is 04 going to have better range than 03? You can't really answer that question because the real question is, what has DJI set the arbitrary limit to? Vista on 03 will obviously go 30 kilometers, still capable. But at the end of the day, we don't really know. We don't know. Okay, so as for... There is also talk that this drone will work with the 04 compatible remotes, which will be a first for the FPV, because usually the FPVs use their own remotes, but I'll be buying it on release because I bought the Avata on release. I actually like the Avata. I'm looking forward to the Avata 2. I'll be talking about the goggles. So, launch, as I understand it, is April. That's what we understand today. Vista HDMI in, please. We will talk about that towards later on in the stream. So, that's all we know. It's not particularly exciting. I've said this many times. It's nice. It's good. It's this. There's the goggles. One last look. I think this person probably got reamed by DJI. This was a UK-based leak. There is no AR involved as far as I understand it. There's not even enough processing for AR in these goggles. Now, I just want to say something. There are people who do things that you guys don't know about in the background. There are people like Junus at FPV-WTF, and there are people around that group. There are people I can't even name. And everything I talk about here is not from one person. It's from millions of people. It's not from millions of people. But look, there are people who we would not have amazing stuff today, like FPV-WTF, and all of the knowledge that we have on DJI 3, Felix, and others. These guys are amazing. And I just want to say, there are times where I am the mouthpiece for certain things, but I am not necessarily the person who's doing all of the digging. I do a lot of digging myself, but there are a lot of people in the background. And those of you who are there who I can't mention, I want to say a huge thank you to you. You people are amazing. But also, we should say a huge thank you over the years to the likes of the guys at FPV-WTF for all of the work they did, and all of the work they continue to do. I am times a mouthpiece for other people. And there is stuff we've sat on forever. And those of you will know. And there's stuff that I've had that I've shared with Junus, and there's stuff that Junus has and others. And there's stuff we all sort of have in the background. Because if I mention certain people, it will put them in a very difficult position. But look, these guys are amazing. Those I can tell you about, FPV-WTF, go support them. If you don't know, they do have an open collective page. Just because you're not seeing much at the moment, it doesn't mean they don't deserve to be supported. You know, that we wouldn't have that amazing OSD without their support. And these guys... Oh, that's not the right button. Where is it? Open Collective. Where's the Open Collective page? Why can't I find the Open Collective page? There it is. There. So please do support FPV-WTF, because there's so much these guys have helped us all with. And look, there are... Right. These guys, all of these people are machines. All of these people are beyond clever. It is ridiculous. So please support them. Please do make sure that you do support the WTF team, because just because they haven't released something today doesn't mean they're not doing stuff in the background. So, and I just want to say a thank you, because look, it's easy for me to sit here. Look, I don't get the knowledge that I get without the help of a lot of people. And these are the people that deserve the support. How did my shower turn out? It's ongoing. I'm on week 2. I'm ripping my hands to pieces, as you can see. I'm in injury station. I have all sorts of vicious injuries on my hands. Nothing shocking. But yes, the shower base went in today. I've got a couple of weeks of work to do. Doing a bathroom is freaking horrible. So, right. I'm going to take a sip of my tea before it goes cold. The goggles didn't even release yet, but WTF has hacked them already. That would be fun if they did. Okay, now, before I move on, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. If you don't know, I have a Patreon as well as a Discord server. Please do make sure you are joined. If you have any questions as the stream goes on, ask them. I will answer them. Super chats are not required for me to answer a question. And no, that isn't a dig at anyone else. It's just a point that I make. However, if you do want to give us a super chat, please do. You're welcome. I'll be grateful for it. Okay. Next, we're going to get on to HDZero quickly because something new released from HDZero this week. And we're not going to spend too much time on this because I don't have it. But this week, HDZero released this new Eco board. Now, this is a new HDZero VTX with an analog HD camera designed for whoop use. Now, I wasn't sent one. I don't have one, so I can't tell you what it's like. Nick Burns has a fantastic video. If you haven't seen it, please do consider checking out Nick Burns' video. What's incredible about this is just how cheap it is. $69.99 with the camera. It's also allowed a new Happy Model Whoop to be released for $149. HDZero Mobula 6 Eco 2024, $149 for a digital Whoop is incredible. I was really impressed, actually, with how the video looked on this. If we go to YouTube and go to Nick's... Nick has this great video, and... I'm not going to play the whole thing. Please do go and watch it and support Nick, because he's a great guy. But I'll be honest, the indoors, right, flights, I was really impressed with how this camera looked indoors. For an analog HD camera indoors on a Whoop, it's analog HD, so it's not digital, analog HD. But considering, I was really impressed with the image quality. This is so much better than analog. And as good, I think, as many of the HDZeros. I think, Jesus, Nick can fly. He is a machine in his house. He really is a machine in his house. But, yeah, this looks really good. He is so good. It is. What shocked me with how good Nick is how fast he can stop that quad. And I mean, his moves are incredible. Some of his moves, the man is a machine. But I was really impressed with how this looked indoors. I'll be honest, not so good outdoors. A little bit washed out outdoors. It starts to fall over in the outdoor scene, in my opinion. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great. I'll be honest. It definitely, I think you start to see its limitations outdoors. Indoors, I think it's fantastic, which is what most Whoops are used for anyway. Let's be realistic. Not that many Whoops are flown outdoors. Some are, but majority is indoors. I just think it does start to fall over outdoors. It doesn't look particularly great. It struggles a little bit with the lighting changes. And Nick does also show it in LEDs as well. Yeah, it does look typical analog outdoors. You're right, Lon. It does. It lets itself down. Indoors, it looks great. It does look great. It also looks a little blurry in LED mode. It's like it's lost some of the sharpness once the low light kicks in. He did a bunch of outdoors before he got thing. It looks okay, but I think it does soften up the image, and he might have done this at a different time. It's a bit off, but I still think for the money, this is a phenomenal camera. To be fair, I think the kit is really good. So please check out Nick's video. He's a great guy. But I think for the money and the cost, this thing is incredible. I'm going to order one today. Probably could benefit from a better lens. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it looks tidy. It definitely looks tidy. This is the new VTX. So analog HD. So you've got 4 wires. You've obviously got some communication wires there as well. We'll talk about the avatar thing in a minute. And then obviously they're doing an analog to digital conversion on this chip here. And then basically pushing it through to the VTX. Justin Miller said, the camera looks okay, but how long will the VTX last? I can't comment. Look, there is an interesting thing here. And I will say this, right? So this is the HDZero. I'll come back to that interesting thing in a second because I don't want to lose that one. I'm going to order one in. I'll order it today. I haven't done it. What's the other port for? You've got your usual one. Will it work with Bifrost VTX? I don't know. Is there a way for O3 to record audio? No, there isn't. Sorry. It'll last until you burn it up. Yeah, look. Yeah, so for this, interesting. And then the Mobula 6 Eco 2024. Just really, really... Hello, Nick. How are you? Show the crash reel if you was worried about durability. Yeah, Nick, he has it. Is it the crash reel is at the end, isn't it? There. Where is it? Look, please do go watch Nick's video. He's got that HDZero update cable as well. He actually talks about it in the video. He smashed it up a few times. He didn't show these in his really fast fly-in, did he? Huh? He made it all look amazing, and here's the truth. Nah, look, the speed the guy moves, Nick can move around that house is incredible. But yeah, look. Oh, that was fast. Oh, that's a bad one. I usually break something on crashes like that. Oh, that one tumbled. He did all right. He hit a piano there. But look, go watch Nick's video. I think it's really good to see. I think it's really, really good to see. Really pleased to see HDZero continuing to develop. I was a bit on this because I didn't quite understand what it's about. Now I've seen it. I think it looks fantastic. And that price, $69. That is camera and VTX. That is a bargain. An absolute bargain. Okay, just answering a couple of questions before we move on. Is TPU the go-to for printing extra stuff for drone frames? Yeah, most people use TPU. John, who gave me Canadian $5. PLA Aero will break. TPU, if you want to stiffen your TPU up, print it with high infill levels. That will give it stiffer. PLA Aero will just snap off. What about your Lord and Saviour OpenIPC? I'm going to avoid comparing that today. But yes, considering the cost of this, why bother? Now, before we move on to the Avatar HD stuff, I just want to talk. People say a lot about digital VTXs breaking. Now, there's been a number of comments here about single board DJI Air units. The reality is, right, you can't have both. Now, let me just go to my FPV wiki. If you don't know, I have an FPV wiki, right? I'm going to do some shilling for that in a minute, as I have. I have an FPV wiki where I upload all of the stuff that I tear down and do on the channel. For those who haven't seen it, it's fpvwiki.co.uk. I'll put the thing in the description here just so people have it. There it is. But also here is all the images and everything I've uploaded of the stuff I've torn down. You have the links to all the configurators and everything like that. There's also links to the open source projects. And there's even links to other FPV channels. I created this page. Nick, I nicked your logo for this. I didn't ask your permission. If you want me to take it down, let me know. But what we've done is put links to all of the major FPV channels that I know. And if I scroll down, you can see all of the ones that I know that FPV related. Some fantastic people here. There really is. Keeps going. All of the people I know as well. I wonder what that one could be. I wonder who that could be. I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Someone who complained about something someone said, perhaps, in recent times. For some reason, the link to it isn't working. That was working the other day. That was actually going to... I might have to fix that one in a minute. And then at the bottom, you've got some brand-associated channels. And look, I have put Ryan in here because he is closely tied to HDZero. He doesn't work for HDZero, but he's sort... Look, Ryan and HDZero, it's hard to say he's completely impartial because he's very close to HDZero. He might not like me doing it this way, but the reality is he has. Rotor Riot and Fat Shark, and then obviously Wes Varty, AU Beard Oil Company, and he's also heavily associated with CASA. So Wes gets to go under the brand-associated channels as well. Will Smith has an FPV. That is meant to go somewhere. I might let me just fix that a second. That was going somewhere else, and I don't know why it's not working. So 1 second. Let me just do something. I'm logged out for some reason. Fly Tribe's got to go on there. For some reason, the link has vanished. And I don't know why the link has vanished. Let me just have a look. Edit post. 2 seconds. Let me just get this fixed. It does this every now and again. Fix that. There we go. Okay, so that should now work. So if I now click on this, where does that take us? Oh, sorry. Let me quick. Better take that down. Better take that down. Oops. Better not do that again. Anyways. I'm a bad man. I am a bad man. I couldn't resist. Sorry, I'm going to say it now. I'm an asshole. I know. I'm an asshole. I know it. But what can you do? What can you do when in Rome? So, anyway, my point we were talking about, and I now need to just, let me get off this a second so I can log out, because I don't want to be in this while I'm on the page. Right, okay, so my point was this. Let's get back on track. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. My point was this. Okay, so digital VTXs, people ask why, like HDZero Avatar HD, why is DJI so big and why do these other VTXs break down? And the reason is this, right? Like, if we look at something first of all, so if we look at the DJI O3 Air unit, if we look inside, right, a huge portion of the O3 Air unit is dedicated to power delivery. So if we actually look down this whole one side of this board, right? So there's two boards in DJI O3. You got the RF board, which is this one here with the P1 chipset. Then you've got what I call the processing camera board, media board, which has the Eagle 3T for the video processing. But one whole side of this board is dedicated to power delivery. It's all power. That gives it some safety. DJI go well above and beyond with regards to ensuring that the VTX can cope with things like input spikes and things like this. When it comes to the single board VTXs, Avatar HD, HDZero, there's a lot less power delivery on board. There's a lot less room for it. There's a lot less safety. So if we take a look here, let's go down to this board, which is the Whoop Light. This is the original Whoop Light here. This side is basically all processing. This side is basically some additional processing and power delivery. So you've got the main voltage regulator here. You've got your inputs down here. You've got some additional voltage regulation here. But there's a lot less protection on these VTXs. It's just a reality. Now, I am going to openly say the quality of the HDZero boards, I think, needs some improvement. I have found the HDZero boards to be very soft. They rip tracks and pads easier than any of the others. Avatar HD boards are a bit better than the HDZeros. I think Carl's boards are absolutely made at a cost. And that tends to be where people have issues. It'll rip a pad around an antenna port instantly. It just will. It just will. I've seen them all. HDZeros, they're very soft. What I would say is this. The adhesive that holds the layers of the board is very soft on the HDZeros. I know Carl's been trying to improve it. Avatar HD tends not to pull pads. However, the Avatar HD boards, right? So if we look at the VTXs... So if we go to Avatar HD VTX, where are they? HD VTX. This frickin' regulator, right? This thing here, this is on every single one. This will burn out if you look at it the wrong way. This regulator is so sensitive, it is ridiculous. It is insane. So what tends to happen on this board, right, is... So in here, you have a single input regulator, which is... Where is it on this board? Actually, it's on this side over here. Sorry. That's the original board. Let me find the right one. So if we look at this one. Right, okay. So on this side of this board, there is a 5-volt regulator, which is down here. That's not the best image. Let's use this one. This one's best. So that regulator there. So that either goes down to 5 volt or 3.3 volt. And then the power goes through to the other side of the board, which is this one here, to the DA9062, which again will just burn out if you look at it wrong. 99% of the time on the Avatar VTX, that regulator burns out on the other side, as does this short to ground, and then you're stuffed. Unfortunately, you can buy this now, though. I will talk about that later. That is available to buy. You can get these now from Vista Repair. For those who don't know, vistarepair.de is a German shop that used to do a lot of repairs. I've spoken to the guy a few times. I don't know him, but he has just started stocking the parts for Avatar HD. So if we go to Caddx... not the Caddx Vista, we want Walksnail Avatar. He now has, under here, the CPS 5333 voltage regulator, which is the 5-volt regulator that burns out. We were discussing it. If you actually look, he used my image to show it, which is the image I created. And he also has the Dialog 9602 IC available as well, but it is a $20 IC. It's cheaper than replacing the VTX, but depending on what's gone, if you think both of the regulators have gone, you're talking $28 of repairs. Maybe on the big VTX it's worth it, but it's getting a little bit dodgy. I will drop the link to Vista Repair, and I need to put this on repair.wiki as well. I'll be putting this up on repair.wiki later on as well. Nick asked a question. Nick, doesn't DJI's use of doing repairs help with their robust design? I think yes. What I'd also say is this, Nick. DJI are completely averse to having any warranty claims. So, if we look at Avatar HD, HDZero, if you notice with HDZero, a lot of their gear, they basically only offer a DOA warranty on their FPV gear. Now, that is legally questionable in the UK and Europe, but it is what it is. We'll take that for what it is a sec. Avatar HD, Caddx tend to offer a bit more warranty, but it isn't great. DJI are like Apple. They're like, you know, any big company. DJI don't want returns. They don't want failures under warranty. So they go belt and braces, period, because they have no interest in dealing with customers who have loads of burned out ear units. And it's just, they will forsake the size for the sake of making it robust from a power delivery point of view. And that's why the Vista has been like so bomb-proof. And it's just, you know, Carl can sell a few VTXs and just say, look, there's no warranty. 03 is definitely a little bit more sensitive than the Vista was. 03 definitely has a habit of burning out in a bad crash. Few people have had them go dead, or it shorts out and it gets really hot on one side. That does happen with 03. I've not had one to diagnose myself. I've not done it myself, but I've definitely seen more 03 failures. But DJI tend to just swap them out, as I understand it. DJI are very good. They get smashed. Yeah, it's definitely not as robust as the Vista. The original ear unit would burn out, but the Vista was just peak robustness. But yeah, I think HDZero and Avatar HD are playing a different game. Caddx definitely need to up their quality control game, but that's a different kettle of fish. Okay, no, we're just talking about the Vista and stuff. Now, next, we're going to move on to Caddx, as I've mentioned it, because they've announced something, released something this week that I didn't know about. No one else, well, the testers knew about it, I guess. And I'll be honest, I really don't know what the fuck this is. Because I just don't know what this product is meant to be. And I was going to say, I don't know who it's for, but I do know who it's for. And I'm going to be very careful what I say. So, they have released what they're calling infra camera. Image enhancement, black and white sensor, zero lux, high resolution. Now, we need to be clear on this a minute. This isn't a VTX. Okay? As I understand it, this isn't a VTX. This is something that goes between your VTX and your camera. And it is a camera. It is an black and white infrared capable. They say, and wait for it, there is AI image enhancement. So that's the first bit of bullshit that I'm going to call. It does work in 0 lux. It has a black and white sensor. And it's high resolution. And as Killdozer FPV has just said, I'm just going to read his words. It is definitely not for tank hunting. So that tells you what this is for. Artificial ignorance. AI image enhancement improves image quality, maximizing video quality in any environment that can replace some scenarios where infrared radiation is used to generate images, expanding the range of analog camera applications. Note, analog camera. The first no light vision analog camera in FPV market. Okay, that's really cool. We like that. That sounds good. I'm not even replying. You guys are already there, right? I'm not even going to say it. You're already there with what this is for. Right? Supports wide dynamic range. The infra camera supports 60 by 9 or 4 by 3. Designed with 120-degree field of view. I wonder what they could be looking for in a woods like that, innit? I also wonder where they got their stock images from. Anyone done a stock image search on these? Remember, Caddx does like to use stock images. We should search for that one. Now, this is all the bits that starts to get really weird and murky, okay? So let me open up this. So they're showing the box. The camera's 20 by 20.5. I think the camera is quite interesting, okay? The box is the AI box. So remember, you're going to avoid it. You don't want to network it because it might try and take over your computers. I might label this a fracking toaster, actually. I'm going to call this the fracking toaster from now on. That's my term for this. Fracking toaster. So that is the size of that. And this is the box. Now, there is just stuff here that makes no sense at all. So, we have USB, we have ground and power. We have power, ground, and CVBS. So, there is an analog input into this module. It has thermal, which I guess is the IR camera, and it has Digitmal, which I'm not quite sure what Digitmal is. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's some form of new connection used between Caddx cameras that we've not seen before. You know, they've not had Digitmal on anything in the past. Hopefully, Digitmal has improved bandwidth, longer range. So Digitmal hopefully is going to be something quite interesting. And then it has another slot for the day camera. Now, I guess, and we don't know because there's no information on this bloody thing. I wonder if that is meant to be the pass-through port to the VTX. Because as far as I know, this isn't a VTX. If we go down to the spec, there's not even really anything in the spec. This is the complete nonsense about this. The Q&A says, when will it be shipped? 30 working days. Field of view, camera model, HD interface. There's just no information. Oh, someone's just said, Brandon, Digitmal versus Jamalog. I forgot that there was Jamalog. So is Digitmal the digital version of Jamalog? Is that what it is? It's like taking Jamalog and then squeezing it in and ramming it up the ass of an engineer until it comes out digital. Is that what it is? Is that how they do it? It can be. I'm not sure any of this can be real, right? There's my terms. So, look, there's something here. I don't know what the fuck it is. All right, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I do know why it is. Let's be honest. It's going to be strapped to something that's probably never going to come back. Somewhere over the eastern part of the world is where it's going to be. I'll order one, and then we'll try and figure it out. What I love is Caddx want you to give them, right, $129 for something you don't know what it is. It would be nice. $129 with the camera. Look, if this is a true infrared camera and it does very, very well, you got to remember that's not thermal, though. It's not thermal, it's infrared. It could be interesting. I just don't quite... I just don't Yeah, I think... Where is the HDMI input VTX that we were promised? Where is the fixes for the Goggles X? Where's the fixes for the original goggles? So, where is focus mode? Where is a proper working zoom function on the goggles? Where is all of the other stuff that was promised that we haven't had? Yet we've got a new AI box, which I guess, you know, when you're not using it on your quad, you could use it to help you problem solve at home, and, you know, you could shout, AI box, book me a train to Manchester, or something like that. But it's a weird product. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. It's a weird product. I would almost pre-order anyway, just out of curiosity. Yeah, Kilda's a hell. Damn, a flowchart for updating firmware, up and down, roll back. My suspicion is, right, it's got... Right, here's what I think it'll be. It will be based on some Artisan camera DSP. Artisan, who make their chipset, are also big into this AI processing. Okay? And I suspect it's using one of their chips. I will put money it's using one of their chips. Because Artisan are big into this. Look, I've just gone to the Artisan's website. So here we go, right? I'm already there. This is the home page. And here you go, right? Let me zoom it up so you can read. New generation of AR9 3 series, high performance AI SoC. It's just gone over the top of their writing. They need to fix their website. Wow, their website is very broke. Here's another one, the AR9201. Ironically, the chipset that Avatar uses, high performance AI Vision SoC. That's the actual chipset. That's what we actually have. Lol, the English page is 100% a Chinese page, Google Translate. That explains a few things. Dinner time here. Need to get going for the family. Have a good stream day and night. Thanks for the shout out. Nick, look after yourself, my friend. No problem at all. All the best. Please, everyone, make sure... Well, look, Nick's a massive channel. I'm just an idiot. So please go watch Nick and not listen to this idiot here. That's the best thing. That's the best advice I can give you. So, look, it'll have some bloody Artisan chipset in there doing something. I don't know what it'll be. That's the reality. That's the reality. So, look, I'll order one in. I'll let you know what the hell it is when I figure it out. Now, that is all of the main subjects for tonight. There is, though, one other thing I'm going to touch on a little bit, and this is... And look, this is the time where I'll answer any questions you may have. So, again, questions, please do put them in. Super chats are welcome if you want to support the channel, but they're not required. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Okay. Now, this is this. Okay. Now, I need to be clear. This is not a HDMI input board. It is a display input board. DisplayPort input board. That might be that's a sort of a DisplayPort connector. It is not HDMI. Okay? You get my drift? It is not HDMI. Okay? Not HDMI. It's not licensed HDMI. DisplayPort. So, what this will allow you to do is take a 720p 60 frames a second input at this moment in time and feed it into a Vista or a DJI Air unit. Now, HDMI compatible. So, this board is by Syntronics. Now, this is something that's going to be available very shortly. I'll be doing a full video on this soon. It is very, very cool. Now, I'm actually having trouble finding cameras I can use because almost every camera I've got today is 1080p output, not 720p. I have tried this with a 720p 60 input, and it works from the PC absolutely perfectly. At the moment in time, it only supports 720p 60. It will be, there's more work being done. I can't say if there will ever be 1080p. I don't know. Okay, I can't answer that question. Today, it only supports 720p 60. Now, what will this be good for? Well, look, it's going to allow you to plug a GoPro straight into it, for starters, which is cool. But you could only use 720p 60 mode. But that's still cool. What you will be able to do is plug a PC into it at 720p 60, and it looks fantastic. And I mean, it really does look fantastic. Or anything that can output 720p 60, a IR HD camera, absolutely. Thermal camera, absolutely. This allows you to put into the DJI ecosystem pretty much any video input that supports 720p 60 frames a second. And that is the cool thing about this. Now, this isn't going to be a product for everyone, but there are absolutely use cases where this is a real game changer. Now, today, it doesn't support 03. It's a different connector. Walksnail to DJI. I've actually tried that, and it wasn't working with my VRX. I need to do a bit more checking. No, USB is for updating the firmware on it. You don't need to power it. It is powered from the Air unit itself. Red Komodo can do 720. And the PC feed, I've only literally had this like a 24 hours. I've just started playing with this. And yeah, it is very, very cool. Very cool indeed. Now, on this side of the board, you've got some chipsets. You've got an ESP32. You've got the HDMI input with the filters, as well as a chipset there. I'm not going to tell you what that is. And then on the back side, you've got a flash ROM chip, obviously, with the storage on for the ESP32. So this uses... So yeah, very cool, size-wise. Just to show you. It will fit on top of a Vista. Yeah, I would have probably gone with a mini HDMI. I would have probably gone with the mini HDMI. is probably what I would have done. Very cool, though. Very, very cool. Now, obviously, there will be a video coming on this in the near future. There's a lot more stuff I need to understand about it. Look. Display port that looks like HDMI. You have to remember, there is a license fee for HDMI officially supported devices. Although, I don't think Caddx have cared about that on their goggles. Are you going to be able to fly with it connected to a GoPro? Yes. When I can find my GoPro, my one, believe it or not, I've lost my GoPro. And I can't figure out what I've done with it. I genuinely, I cannot figure out what I've done with it. Latency, it's okay. It wasn't shocking. I haven't done the tests. Look, it isn't quite as low as DJI, but it certainly wasn't shocking. I have, I think you're not going to be using, look, anything that this is designed for. Have you connected it to my phone? No, because my phone's an iPhone and it doesn't have HDMI output. You have it connected to your phone. You can find it. Yeah, no, it's flat somewhere in the room. I just don't know where it is. I don't know. I seem to have lost it. Yeah, this is going to be for filming. This is going to be for someone who wants an input. Cine cameras, proxy outputs at 720p. Yeah, should be. Look, I can't say what compatibility is going to be like because, look, this is early days. I've not tested this on everything. So far, I've tested it on my PC at 720p 60, and it is bob on. It looks fantastic, I will add. I need a new GoPro by the looks of it because I can't find... Look, I've got a Hero 9 that Flywoo sent me that doesn't have HDMI output. That's frustrating. I wish that one had HDMI output. I can't find my Hero anywhere. I just cannot work out where it is. GoPro 30... What number are we on? Test unit. Ooh, so should I wait before I buy a GoPro Super Deluxe? If I was thinking of buying a GoPro, would waiting be a good idea? Yes, the Action 2, I'll mention that in the stream as well, actually. We will. I put a separate video out about that, but I will. Should I be waiting? Does the... the GoPro, the small one, does it have HDMI? DM me next week, I'll tell you. September, okay. I don't know when the Flywoo Waked kits ship. No, I don't. Does the smaller GoPros have HDMI output, or is it only the full size that has HDMI output? Yeah, the minis. Does the mini have HDMI? I don't know if it does. If it doesn't, I'll have to go for a full size. Ah, they can all do HDMI through USB-C. Can they? Right. Ben Togo, GoPro need to do something really special or DJ will kill them for good. I'm not sure. Look, GoPro is still hands down. Try it with your Panasonics. My Panasonic's floor minimum output is 1080p. None of my cameras here go out at 720p. Believe it or not, none of my cameras will do 720p. Everything I have does 1080 minimum. You'll need the medium one to get HDMI. That's annoying. So I'm going to end up with a 12 black then, most likely. I'm assuming, does the 12 black do HDMI over USB-C, does it? Please tell me. Please tell me that the Hero, because my older GoPros have a HDMI output. Please tell me the newer ones have a HDMI. I need to look. I will be devastated if they don't. My GoPro 2 has 720 out. Yeah. Almost every modern GoPro output 1080p. Can they do 720? With the media mod. You've got to have the media mod. Great. Really? Yeah, my GH4... Well, I got a GH5, haven't I? I got a GH5 and a G9, and the lowest they go to is 1080p. Super latent, though. Ah, is that the USB converter? Is it? I haven't looked at the new one. It's, yeah, so... CSI2 and DSI. That's a complicated one. I'm probably not going to get into time into in this stream. It's just the connection type interface. DSI is generally used for displays. CSI is generally used for cameras. That tends to be what you see. What's happening here? Someone just meant it is worth me mentioning on this stream as well. For those who didn't see this week, DJI did something really weird, right? Something I'll say first, sneak. Watch for sales on that. That might not be around much longer. That might not stay around much longer. Coming soon. Moving on. They released a new version of the Action 2. Now, this was really weird. I was a bit astonished at this, but yeah, they released a 128 gig Action 2. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. No one saw this coming. No one saw this coming. But you got the standard 32 gig version, and there is now a 128 gig version. Now, yes, you're still going to have the problem with the battery running out in 15 minutes, but you can get adapters to run this on USB-C. For those who don't know, so what you've got is this new 128 gig version, and you're not paying much more for it, to be honest. If you look at the pricing, if we're on the buy now page, if you look at the pricing, $239 for the dual screen combo and $249. So you're paying £10 more. It's a great camera for specific uses, is the problem. It's not a great camera overall, but it is a great camera for certain things. But yeah, they've released a 128 gig version, which none of us saw coming. Now, for those who don't know, if you go to AliExpress, you can get Action 2 bases, right, that will supply USB-C power. So you get them like this. So it's the magnetic base that has a USB port built in, allowing you to charge for like $16. The only annoyance is it's still the magnetic base. I wish we didn't have to have the magnetic base. 5 volt. So you'd have to have a back. But they are available out there. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of these that exist out there. There's that one there. There's that one there. There's this one here. There's loads of them. You can see it there. So, you can get the charging port base if you need it. Could you power it from a LiPo? You could with an adapter. Bro, hello, VTX. Can you recommend an FPV camera for RC planes? Do you mean like a recording camera or an FPV system? Love the lightning bolt to recognize magnets. Yeah. Everything's a beck. Yeah. So, yeah, there's 128 gig action too as well, which is interesting to see. Who knew? Who saw that coming? I don't have an Action 4. Like a live streaming. So you're talking FPV. Well, it's more of a camp system you're going to need. So it's your choice of which FPV system you want. Whether you want DJI, whether you want Avatar HD, whether you want HDZero. That's a very complex subject. So really, it's do you want goggles? Do you want a ground station? HDZero and Avatar HD will give you a ground station option. Goggles, if you want goggles, you can choose between the three. There's a lot to understand. Foxy T-Rex, very good analog camera. Ben just said, interested in Mavic 4 Pro. Literally no idea how they could improve it. You got to remember, DJI is going to be transitioning all of their aircraft over to 04. DJI are moving to a new chipset. So you're going to see everything get replaced now. Everything will be replaced in the next 6 months to 12 months. Everything will start to transition. Like $1 or $2. There ain't a lot that's $1 or $2. That's the problem. Then you want analog FPV with a display, the cheapest set of goggles, cheapest VTX. That's going to be the way forward. Okay, guys, if you've got any other questions, please do put them in the chat. The one last thing I want to show you is this. I want to show you something really rare. And I've not seen anything this bad before. Okay, so let me just get something up. And then I'll do this again. So, I want to show you something a little bit rare that I've not seen before. And it is about a DJI product. And actually, it's a Fire. Now, DJI's drones have been always some of the safest quads on the planet with regards to their lipos, with regards to their performance. Yes, there's been issues over the years. Most of the time, the batteries caused problems with the aircraft shutting down. But with regards to charging safety and the batteries themselves with regards to Fire, they've always been very, very good. But I saw something this week that surprised me, actually, and that is this. This was posted on the original DJI, the official DJI Facebook group. This is one of the groups I used to actually run with DJI. And this is an Avata that went up. And this is something that is particularly unusual. Now, this didn't happen in a crash. This didn't happen as a result of an impact as far as we know. Battery burst into flames, new Avata, new battery, less than 2 hours on both. It required a dirt and a fire extinguisher to put it out. When you read the comments, he basically said he'd just put it down. This is, and look, someone makes a comment here. Rob Farrell says, in all of my years of flying, this is the first time I've heard of this from a DJI battery. I have heard of DJI batteries going up, but it is rare. Very, very rare. But yeah, this is a bad one. This is a very, very bad one. What's actually incredible is how well the Avata frame is held up at the bottom. But yeah, that is a biggie. That is an absolute biggie. It's very rare. I will be honest with you. These aren't normal. Now, I'm sure there's another picture of it clean up in here. He did post a few pictures of it. Here we go. He cleaned it up after the fact to show some pictures. So you can see it there. That's it after the... Yeah, and look, we're relying on what the user has said. Let's be honest here. We don't know the circumstances. We never do. And I will also throw out there that whilst I'm not calling this user a liar, I was helping to run this group when the Mavic 2 Pro launched, and the guy dropped it, broke his gimbal, proceeded to then say it just fell off, and the internet melted down that the Mavic 2 Pro had a fatal fault and everyone is probably going to have problems. And what actually happened was the man got his brand new drone, took the gimbal protector off and accidentally slipped and dropped it, and it hit the corner of his table. But he didn't say that. What he said was his gimbal fell off. So we don't really know the truth. But I thought I would show it because it is unusual, this kind of thing. We don't see many like that. We don't see many like that. That is not normal. I would just like to be clear in saying that is not normal. Okay? But, yeah. That's a baddie. That's a baddie. And I thought I'd share it because it's rare. Now, I have seen DJI batteries go up. It isn't impossible. It does happen. It has happened a few times. The last ones I actually saw were the Inspire 1 packs. But yeah, look. At the end of the day, DJI Lipos are still some of the safest batteries on the planet. Ben says Avata 2 is incredibly position hold. The overall flight stability is massively improved, yeah. Now, just jumping up to questions. Let me just... I saw one just now. What's the best channel for DJI 03 best range? Kind regards, Manuel. There isn't really. Look, for those who don't know, I also have a channel chart for DJI. If we take a look at it a minute, for those who don't know, it is on the FPV wiki. I know I keep referring to this, but I put everything up here. DJI 03 frequency chart. So if you click on this, it actually shows you the frequency chart of 03 and the channels that DJI use for 03 that I made. This is the one that I created. If you look at 03, right, it depends the mode you're in. So remember, if you're using it in manual mode, you've got 3 channels. You got 5677, 5794, 5902. Not one is going to be any better than another from a range point of view. It really comes down to what's around you and what are you avoiding, really, is what it comes down to. You then look at when you're in 10 and 20 megahertz mode, you get the 7 channels. There isn't a link to this adapter yet. That'll be coming in the near future. I will put a link in. I'll pin a comment with it after the video finishes with regards to their website, but it isn't available yet. It will be available in the very near future. But yeah, it is. There's not one particular channel that's going to be any better. That's the safest thing for me to say. What do you think about using a HD Cam VTX 03 instead of a GoPro? Look, for me, I'll be honest, 03 is good enough 99% of the time. I don't really fly. Look, I've been a commercial drone pilot and I did a bit of work, but I also have another life. I would absolutely use DJI 03 where I could today. A GoPro is look. GoPro still have the legs on DJI, even the Action 4. The Action 4 is still not quite as good as a GoPro. GoPro are the #1 action camera company, and I don't think that'll change. I think DJI don't seem to just quite be able to get there. Just can't quite be able to do it. Gadget RC, in my experience, the V2, that is 25 megahertz, is better range than 50. There's a similar effect on 03. Yeah, in theory, you should by far get the best out of the lower bandwidths. But what DJI do on 03 is when you're in auto, it just steps down. Because DJI 03 goes down to 1.6 as well. DJI actually goes down to 1.6 megahertz carriers as well in auto mode. You can't do it in manual, but you can in auto. And it will just step down. Dynamic range is just not cutting it. Could be the GoPro. Agreed. GoPro just have the legs. Just have the legs. Yeah, GoPro just seems to... The image stabilization is just better. The image quality is just better. The color is just better. It's just better. It's enough, though, that you notice it. It's enough. I haven't tried the Action 4, though. I could be very tempted on an Action 4. I need to go and have a look. Yeah, 5.3 compared to 4K. You know, if we look at the Action 4 now, what's the price? What sensor size is GoPro using these days? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what sensor size GoPro has on the 12 these days? I haven't looked. I can't remember off the top of my head. So the 12 black, what's the specs? Come on, come on, come on. So 5.6K, 3K 60. What's the actuals? Is it 1/1.9? I was going to thought it might be, but is there a technical spec here? Yeah, 1/1.9. And what's DJI using now? They're still over 1/1.3, you see. DJI is still behind. Still behind on the Action 4. So they're just not quite there. Yeah, but it's not just the size. Remember, it's the pixel density. When I say pixel, look, you got to take into account, I'm talking about slightly different things, sorry. So, 1/1.3 is larger, but it's not as simple as a larger sensor is better. It's how they're delivering that image quality. So, for instance, DJI have a habit now of banging in these quad Bayer sensors, which I'm still not convinced on. One of 1.3 is a nice size, but it's how it's actually able to deal with. It depends if it's quad Bayer or not, for starters, because remember, all this megapixel is just complete nonsense these days when they're using quad Bayer terminology. And then it's how you're dealing with the readout of that. So, for instance, for the sensor being bigger but less resolution, are they binning? Are they so are they binning or are they subsampling? Will depend. Insta360 1-inch still can't compare to the 1/1.9 GoPro. Yeah, something GoPro has. There's something that GoPro has. Their GP2 chip is very, very good. Action 2 for the win. Action 2 is a very good camera. It depends what they're doing. Subsampling is the best, obviously. Pixel binning is a horrible process that will yield horrible results. And I suspect DJI is binning. I'll be honest. I've always suspect DJI have a long history of pixel binning. DJI have a huge history of pixel binning. They actually subsampled on the Phantom 4 Pro, and that's why that drone was so good. For those who remember the Phantom 4 Pro, right, and the X4 camera on the Inspire 2, the reason that was so good is they subsampled. They actually took all of the pixel data and ran it through the SoC and subsampled. What DJI have a habit of doing now is pixel binning on sensor. And this is why, if you just a second, I'm going to finish up on this before we finish up. This is why some of the mirrorless cameras are so good. Because what you take is, you take the full sensor readout, you tunnel that into their image processing unit at full sensor readout, and the image processor subsamples a lower resolution image from all of that initial pixel data. Whereas pixel binning is generally done on sensor before the SoC. And that means the damage is already done. You're throwing away the stuff before you've even processed it. And that's the big problem with subsampling with pixel binning. Pixel binning on a sensor is just averaging. That's all they tend to do is average. So you have 4 pixels, you take an average of the 4 and send that average out. A bit like quad Bayer, in fact, because that's all quad Bayer does. So that is it for tonight's stream. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's watched tonight. We have gone nearly the 2 hours. I hope the information was useful. If it has been, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. DJI was pixel binning on a lot of stuff, Lon. The last time I checked, they were still pixel binning on a lot of stuff, and they've been a bit murky on what they've done. It's better today, don't get me wrong. But if you take the Mavic 2 Pro, they were pixel binning. They were pixel binning on the Mavic 2 Pro, the X5s, the X7s, the latest stuff. I don't know about the Mavic 3. I don't know if they've finally been subsampling on the Mavic 3. Hopefully they've got it back there. But their pixel binning is a horrible process that should be banned. Banned, I tell you. But right. I got in that fight with Cliff back in the day. Yeah, the Mavic 2 Pro binned horribly. Did the Mavic 2 Pro. Horrible bidding. What's the best 100-gram drone? Ooh, don't know. That's light. Right. I want to say a big thank you. Don't forget, check out the FPV Wiki. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, What's Up, for the $5 super chat before we're heading out the door. Stay safe. We should be back same time, same place next week. You never know. I might put a video out this week. Look after yourselves, and I will speak to you soon. No graceful way to end a bloody live stream. There never is. Later.